receive a land, or his offspring would receive a land in that area, and also Arabia. He sojourned, and he was considered an alien or foreigner to this area called Canaan. At that time, Palestine. Today we know it as Israel. That was not the land of his birth. It was a land where he sojourned on his mission with God and had children there. Namely, we know that he was married to Sarah, right? Who was known in the book as a fair-skinned woman. But Sarah, this fair-skinned woman, we say light-skinned woman, had a handmaiden, Hagar. You remember the story? And Sarah could not have any kids. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
We're trying to get to our biological identity. So Sarah, because she could not have any kids, said to Abraham, well, hey, why don't you take my bondwoman, or this woman, Egyptian woman, Hagar, and we're talking 4,000 years ago, Egypt was black, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So this woman here, this Egyptian black woman, Abraham took and had a son by. What was that son's name? Ishmael, right? The firstborn son of Abraham. Ishmael. Now Ishmael, and it's all in the book, I don't want to read it out of here, get all tedious and caught up in the script. Just know for sure you can go back and verify. But Ishmael was the firstborn son of Abraham through Hagar. But as Ishmael began to mature, Sarah took offense at the mockery of Hagar toward her, because Sarah was barren, couldn't have any kids. So Sarah's now seeing this son Ishmael running around, and is going to be the heir of Abraham's wealth, when she had no children to produce. But she was told that she would produce a child, and that that child's name would be who? Isaac. All right? So Isaac is going to be born. And you saw it in some of the movies that they represent. God says to Abraham, okay, you're going to have this son Isaac, so we want you to sacrifice Ishmael. And Abraham goes up into the mountains, and he's going to sacrifice Ishmael, but he was told, no, don't do it. Don't sacrifice this child. Let him live. So as the story goes, Abraham is told by Sarah that I want you to kick this son Ishmael out of the house, out of this place. Now note that they are in ancient Canaan at the time. Today, Israel, Palestine. And she tells Abraham to kick him out. But Abraham is grieved. He doesn't want to kick his son out. So Abraham says a prayer to God, and it's recorded in both Bible and Holy Quran, oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. That I'm grieved in my heart because my wife Sarah wants me to get rid of this son Ishmael and put him out. And if I do that, I'm fearful that he might die and end up with no possessions and be lost. But God tells him, hearken to the voice of thy wife Sarah, and do what she is saying. Put Ishmael out. For in Isaac shall thy seed be called. This is a statement. For in Isaac shall thy seed be called. Meaning, don't worry about Ishmael. You can put him out and send Hagar away. Don't worry about them, because through the line of Isaac, we're going to send somebody at the right time to call Ishmael up and back to his God. Now, the Orthodox Arabs believe that they are the seed of Ishmael.
Yes, they do.
Because they are now dwelling in the place known as Beersheba. And if you go and look at the maps in the book, and it says that Abraham dwelled in the land, or sent Hagar and Ishmael to the land of Beersheba, Arabia, where Abraham was from, because he was a stranger and an alien in Palestine. So he sent them back home to Mecca, Arabia. And we know that because the recorded history, if you go and read the history in the Middle East, it is well known that Hagar and her son Ishmael were there right at the well of Zamzam, where Ishmael was thirsting for water, and his heel hit the earth, and a well sprung up, and they were quenched, and she was able to give him drink. And right there, they built the well of Zamzam. And next to it, the holy house, or the Kaaba, was established. According to the Quran, it was Ibrahim and his son Ishmael who reestablished. So Abraham goes to Arabia and looks after Hagar and Ishmael and set the holy house, the Kaaba, and the well of Zamzam there. And each Muslim every year, or during the time of Hajj, to actually go and to circumambulate around the black stone in Mecca. The question that should be asked, why would a black stone represent a yellow people? According to the Bible, Ishmael's mother was an Egyptian, and Ishmael's wife was an Egyptian. If Abraham is a black man from Arabia, and his mother is Egyptian, and this Egyptian woman gets a woman from Egypt for Ishmael to marry, then these people would be black people. But long before Ishmael was ever born, that place was sacred, and that stone was a black stone representing the black people who originated at the very root of civilization. That Mecca, Arabia, is the root of civilization, and is a city, the first city, the oldest city in existence on the face of the planet Earth. And it is from, this is where we're from. Mecca, Arabia. A black stone that represents a black people. But let's dig a little deep. Abraham had Isaac and Ishmael. Ishmael was placed out, sent back to Arabia. And they don't really follow the lineage of Israel. They tell you he had 12 sons and that he would be a great nation. But the book follows the lineage of Jacob more so, or through Isaac and his son Jacob and Esau, because it was Isaac who got the blessing of Abraham. And Esau and Jacob were his sons. Esau was tricked from his birthright by his brother Jacob. They brothers now. And Esau, having been tricked, he lost his birthright, and he goes and moves back to Arabia with his uncle Ishmael. Now, Esau's oldest son was Eliphaz, according to the book. And Eliphaz had a son named Teman. Can you see the lineage now? Abraham, Isaac, Esau, Eliphaz, Teman. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says God came from Teman. That is the lineage, that is the direct lineage from whence God is going to come from. He's going to come from the line of Teman. Teman takes us back to Eliphaz. Eliphaz takes us back to Esau. Esau takes us back to Isaac. So Esau is what? The son of Isaac. And Ishmael would be Esau's uncle. Is that right?
Yes.
Abraham,
Yeah, two brothers
two brothers.
had sons.
So when Master Fard Muhammad came to America, he told the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I'm from the lineage of Teman, directly descended through Abraham. And you black people here in America are descended from my uncle Ishmael, the one who originally lived in Mecca, Arabia, that is where you're from. Now, question is, why does God come from the Mideast to the West?
Good question.
What is the need of God? Why does Jesus prophesy that as the lightning, and the lightning represents the truth of the sun, when it shines, darkness dissipates, the truth is shown. As the lightning shineth out of the east, even into the west, then there so the coming of the Son of Man be. Meaning this man would have a biological line back up to Abraham, fulfilling the prophecy of Abraham's seed. And what does God say about Abraham's seed? That you shall be numbered as the stars in the sky and the sands on the seashore. That no one will be able to count you as a number. What is the relevance of it today? That seed of Abraham, after undergoing 400 years of bondage, would have purged out of them the lie, the filth, the unrighteousness, for they would have come up out of the hell and would come up to be a great nation to influence all the other nations of the nation of Islam and bring them back to truth and righteousness. That's your calling, black man. For in Isaac shall thy seed be called, through the line of Isaac, through Esau, through Eliphaz, through Teman, from Master Fard Muhammad. He came and called us to stand up and become a nation. Now, the people over there in the Middle East look more like this man, Master Fard Muhammad. We were told that his father was a jet black man. His mother was a Caucasian. He was specially prepared to do the work. And if you look at his passport, he may have been classified as a white man on the passport, because Egyptians and all types of people from the Mideast back in that time were classified as white people. But we know that he was half black and half white. There's no more evidence of it. If you read in Isaiah chapter 46, it says, remember the former things, those of long ago, back when God spoke to Abraham, some 4,000 years ago. I am God and there is no other. I am God and there is none like me. For I know the end from the beginning, from ancient times, that is still to come. I say my purpose will stand, and I will do all that I please. From the east, Mecca, Arabia, I'm adding that, Mecca, Arabia, I summon a bird of prey. From a far off land, is not Mecca, Arabia far off? from a far off land. A man, not a spook, not a spirit, but a man to fulfill my purpose. Who's going to fulfill the purpose of God? A man, right?
Yes, sir.
That I have said that I will bring about what I have planned, and will I do. Listen to me. You stubborn-hearted, you are far from righteousness. I am bringing my righteousness near. It is not far away. This is that man from T-Man who identified us by teaching the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that we are of the lineage of Ishmael. He is through the lineage of Isaac. That he has called us through his messenger to stand and become a nation that's going to bless all nations of righteousness. Not the Caucasian nation, for he revealed them as being a nation and a race of devils.
Mm-hmm.
What place does the Jews have in claiming to be the chosen people of God? None. In fact, Jesus says to them in John, verse 8, 42, 44, that ye are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father ye shall do. For he was a liar from the beginning and abode not in the truth. Whenever he speaks a lie, whenever he speaks of himself. He is a lie, and he speaks lies. It's Jesus. Look at the Caucasian people today. Look at the president. Does he lie?
Yes.
He lies like he breathes.
All the time.
It's natural to him. Not only him, but all white people. It's in their nature to lie and to murder. And that was the secret that Master Prophet Muhammad was to reveal to us. That man of sin, that man of perdition, that man, that skunk of the planet Earth, that nobody can live with together in peace, that his world will be up after 6,000 years. And that you, black man and woman, must be resurrected and reclaim your rightful place on the world stage. It's time for the black man and woman to claim their rightful position as the chosen of God and to establish a government and a nation state that they can call somewhere on this planet Earth. We want to fly this flag in the UN and be justified. You cannot be justified with white people under their flag. Colin Kaepernick, by not standing up for the American flag and not denouncing it outright, is only taking baby steps. Calling for police brutality to end, that's good. Not wanting to stand up for the flag, that's okay. But unless you're willing to replace that U.S. flag with a flag that you can call your own, you're taking baby steps. This is a leap, a giant leap for us. Well, we can say, we want a flag that represents our own government, our own land, where we can establish for ourselves our own culture, our own religious systems, our own school systems, our own monetary system, farming system, educational systems, healthcare systems, everything that we need as a people, then we would be justified as every other nation of people on the face of the planet. With that, I leave you as I did, greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Wonderful song, sir.
Well, I wanted to leave some time for you to ask any questions, because I know I said a mouthful. Like I said, this is the time for you, our visitors. We hold the mosque meetings for our visitors, not for the believers per se. Believers come from time to time to get a pep shot, but we're really holding the doors open for you, such that you can get access to this information. So if you have a question, please feel free to ask. I'll be happy to entertain your questions at this time. Please, first, stand and tell us who you are and how you heard about us.
My name is May Garner. I just happened to be walking by and struck up a conversation with you. Most of the information that you just dropped on me, I try to pay attention to different things. I wouldn't say it was all new information. A lot of it I heard before. I guess the main question is, as far you said in 2010, Mr. Silis, is that Silis Muhammad?
Yes, sir.
He said he went to the United Nations, and that's where the term Afrodescendants came from, right?
Well, he's gone.
He worked to get the term.
Good question. He's gone to the United Nations. I believe he made his first appearance there in 1998. But he didn't really get. He didn't get to really communicate with them. The first communication was through an organization, I believe it was called Al-Ram, headed up by Dr. Clyde. He's a human rights activist that lived in Canada. And he assisted the Honorable Silis Muhammad along with a cadre of attorneys to put together a 1503 communication to the UN. And he put that communication out trying to capsulize what it was that we felt our grievance were as a people. And from that time on, I believe he made his first intervention in 2000. I don't know for
I
certain.
think 2002,
One or two or something in that area.
1 or 2.
Yeah, and then every year or so thereafter, he made interventions. And many trips, 17 years, I believe he was back and forth. But it was, you remember when they had the big convention at the UN, 2001, the convention on racial discrimination and xenophobia and other intolerant grievances or whatever. It's a big long name, but it's basically discrimination against minorities and people of different cultures. That year, 2001, the Honorable Silis Muhammad was there, and he called for a seminar to be sponsored by the UN, and he did put up money, about $30,000, to get the UN to assist us in having this forum whereby all of the representatives, and there was some 19 representatives, could meet in 2002, I believe it was in Ciba, Honduras, to discuss and to identify ourselves as a people. It was at that seminar, 2002, that we defined what an Afro-descendant is. And the 19 groups agreed that we should be called by this name, Afro-descendants. And then again in Peru, in 2005, that was officially accepted by the UN.
This seems pretty current. Is that something I could kind of go on?
Yeah, you can go to the UN website
Okay.
and
Yeah, it's interesting because I was working on a grant proposal for the United Nations
okay.
the last year or so, and I noticed that they put out a request for well, the way I look at it is for something that can help get Afro-descendants to where they should be at. Just a general request, but they didn't really well, they didn't follow with me for one, but they just kind of put everything in perspective.
Yeah, to communicate, as an individual, to communicate with the UN is almost impossible, if not.
Yeah.
They only speak to governments and what they call NGOs, non-governmental organizations, can officially communicate with the UN. And that's how the Honorable Silis Muhammad was able to get in. It was through Dr. Clyde's NGO initially that we got in, and more effectively under the non-governmental organization of the Caucasian woman by the name of Ida Hakeem, who headed up CURE, C-U-R-E, which stands for Caucasians United for Reparations and Emancipation. She was able to get a consultative status with the UN, whereby interventions could be made. At that time, she changed the organization to AFRI, All for Reparations and Emancipation, and stepped down to allow for the Honorable Silis Muhammad to take over as the head of AFRI, such that he could now speak on behalf of all Afrodescendants, or people who suffered from the transatlantic slave trade. We were not Afrodescendants at that time. But he was able to go back and forth and to make it possible for us to be able to be identified as Afrodescendants. So when you're speaking to black people in general throughout the United States and the world, those who have been victimized, then you have to make them aware that you are Afrodescendant, that you have an identity. Not only a political identity internationally, but that you are also descendants of Ibrahim. You are the chosen of God. What God chose you, the one that came from Timan, Master Farad Muhammad. He came to the United States of America and he chose us as a people to bring about a change, or to bring about a new world, a new culture, a new way of life. That's what we're challenged to do, to tear down the lie, the corruption that exists in America, the falsehood about Christianity, Easter, and all of that. To kill that lie and bring in a world order of truth and righteousness.
You said Dr. Clyde Canada. You know how to spell that name?
Clyde.
K-L-Y.
K-L-Y, Dr. Clyde.
Any idea what part?
He's deceased now. I forget the place in Canada, Saskatchewan, I believe it was. But if you look up Dr. Clyde, he's on the internet. His information is on the internet. He had several books out. He was a proponent of Malcolm X's view of human rights. Malcolm X wanted to go to the UN. He was instrumental in keeping the Honorable Silis Muhammad grounded in his humanity. You know, just keeping it, making him aware that you're a human being, you need human rights. And he went to the UN with that such thought in mind, trying to discover our humanity, because we were lost as a people. We didn't know who we were. The people, when they look at us in America, they see white people, that you're no different. Prior to us becoming Afro-descendants or having that identity, you were American, just like white Mr. Jones, white Mr. Jackson. There was no difference. You had the same language, the same religion, the same culture. What distinguished you? We were lost. That's what the book says, that the people, that Jesus would come to the lost people. And that's why we're called the Lost Found Nation of Islam. Lost, now found. We were lost. This man found us.
How do you spell T-Man?
T-E-M-A-N. It's all throughout the Bible.
Sounds kind of familiar.
Yeah. Son of Eliphaz, who was the son of Esau, who was the son of Isaac, who was the son of Abraham. So this thing goes all the way back to Abraham. It was a long time. What's the significance? You see what's going on in the Middle East, right? The nations, the governments there in the Middle East. You got Iran, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Oman, Arabia, just to name a few. These are the nations that Abraham was told that Isaac would produce. Said you would be the father of many nations. All of those Arab nations over there are directly from the seed of Isaac. They're brethren to us. All right? because Isaac is the brother of Ishmael. But Ishmael is the one that got lost. Ishmael's the one whose mother was Hagar, Egyptian, and who married an Egyptian. And it was pushed, it was not given the blessing. But God told Abraham,